Lesson 101. Read this number. This number is read 34 53/100. Again, this number is read 34 53/100. You know how to move the decimal point when we multiply or divide by multiples of 10. If you multiply by 10, you move the decimal point to the right. If you divide by 10, you move the decimal to the left. If you multiply by 10, you move the decimal point one place. Again, if you multiply by 10, you move the decimal point one place. If you multiply by 100, you move the decimal point two places. So 34 53/100 times 100 equals 3,453. So 34 53/100 times 10 equals 345 3/10. Read this number. 31 5/10. This number is read as 31 5/10. If we divide this number, we move it to the left. 31 5/10 divided by 10 equals 3 15/100. 31 5/10 divided by 100 equals 315 thousandths. Open your workbook to lesson 101 and find part 1. I'll tell you what you multiply or divide each number by. You'll copy the digits below and write the new decimal value. A, 17/100. Multiply 17/100 by 100. Write the new value below. B, 3 14/100. Divide 3 14/100 by 10. Write the new value below. C, 460. Divide 460 by 1,000. D, 152 thousandths. Multiply 152 thousandths by 10. Pause the video now if you need to go back and rework these problems. Otherwise, resume to check your answers. Here are the answers. Fraction operations. Open your textbook to lesson 101 and find part 1. Problem A, 50/100 times 20/3. 50/100 times 20/3. Copy the problem. Cross out all the zeros you can. This is what you should have. There is no more simplification for this problem. Multiply and write the fraction and mixed number. Pause the video now to do so. You work the problem 5 times 2/3. That's 10/3. What does 10/3 equal? 10/3 equals 3 1/3. Here is what you should have. Problem B, 35/100 times 10/28. Start by crossing out the zeros. Copy and work the problem. Pause the video now to do so. Problem B, 35 100ths times 10 28ths. Here's what you should have. You crossed out zeros in 10 100ths. Then you simplified 35 tenths. That's 7 halves. Then you simplified 7 28ths. That's 1/4. The answer to the problem is 1/8. Problem C, 20 50ths times 10 thirds. Copy and work the problem. Pause your video now to do so. When you're ready, resume. Here is what you should have. You crossed out zeros in 20 50ths. Then you simplified 10 fifths. 10 fifths simplifies to 2. So the answer is 4 thirds, which is 1 1/3. Now find part 2 in your textbook. Problem A, 1057 divided by 39. Copy the problem. Underline the digits for the first division problem. Pause the video now if you need to. Continue on to solve the problem. Here is what you should have. The first division problem you worked, 105 divided by 39. The first digit of the answer is 2. You brought down the 7. The second division problem you worked is 277 divided by 39. The second digit of the answer is 7. The answer to the whole problem is 27 4/39. Problem B, 4,924 divided by 91. Copy the problem and work it. Pause the video now to do so. Underline the digits for the first division problem you work. The first division problem you worked is 492 divided by 91. The second division problem you worked is 374 divided by 91. The second digit of the answer is 4. The answer to the whole problem is 54 10/91. Here's what you should have. When you're ready, find part 3 in your textbook. The diagram shows the objects that are in a hat. Those objects are rabbits. You're going to figure out the probability for pulling out a pink rabbit, a blue rabbit, or a yellow rabbit. Remember, first write the probability equation, then work the problem for a particular color. Problem A, how many pink rabbits would you expect to pull out if you took 12 trials? Work the problem. Pause the video now to do so. You started out with the probability equation 26t equals p, giving you 4 pink rabbits. Here is what you should have. Make sure you're labeling your answer. Problem B, about how many trials would you expect to take to pull 4 blue rabbits from the hat? Pause the video now to work the problem. The answer you should get is 24 trials. Here is what you should have. Problem C, how many yellow rabbits would you expect to pull out if you took 30 trials? Pause the video now to work the problem. You should have 15 yellow rabbits. This is how your work should show. Now find part 4 in your textbook. When you're ready, pause the video now to do so. These word problems tell about fractions with different denominators. You rewrite the problem with the fractions that have the same denominator. Problem A, The cow gained 16 1/2 pounds last week and 14 7/8 pounds this week. How much weight did the cow gain during the 2-week period? The addition problem you start with is 16 1/2 plus 14 7/8. Write the problem. Rewrite the fraction so that they have the same denominator and work the problem. Pause the video now to solve. Here's what you should have. Problem B. Last fall, the maple tree was 12 1/4 feet tall. This fall, the tree is 15 5/6 feet tall. How much did the tree grow during the year? The problem you'll work is 15 5/6 minus 12 1/4. Pause the video now to solve the problem. You rewrote the fraction as twelfths, 10 twelfths minus 3 twelfths. This is what you should have. We're moving on now to sentences. 5 out of every 7 cups are green. Read the sentence. 5 out of every 7 cups are green. The fraction for 5 out of every 7 is 5/7. 5/7 of the cups are green. When it says 5 out of every 7, it's the same as saying 5/7, 5/7. In part A, write the equation with the fraction in letters. How would this read? 5 out of every 7 cups are green. 5 out of every 7 cups are green. You're going to use equations like the one you just wrote to work problems. 4 out of every 7 pictures were sold. There were 28 pictures. How many were sold? Listen, 4 out of every 7 pictures were sold. 4 out of every 7 pictures were sold. There were 28 pictures. How many were sold? Make an equation for the first sentence. The equation should be 4/7 P equals S. 4/7 P equals S. 4 out of every 7 pictures, P is pictures, were is equals, S is sold. Put in the number the problem gives, then work the problem. It gives you 28 pictures. You'll plug that in for P. Pause the video now to solve. The answer is 16 sold pictures. 2 out of every 5 apartments were rented. There were 16 rented apartments. How many apartments were there in all? Let's read it again. 2 out of every 7 apartments were rented. There were 16 rented apartments. How many apartments were there in all? The equation for you is 2/5 A equals R, rented. 2/5, 2 out of 5, A for apartments equals for were, R for rented. Then you're going to use 16 to plug in for R. So your equation will be 2/5 A equals 16. You'll be solving for A. Pause the video now to work it. The answer you should get is 40 apartments. All right, your independent work begins now. Textbooks parts 5 through 10 and workbook parts 2 through 4. Reach out to me on chat if you need help. Otherwise, get busy.